Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Procrastinator's Pit Stop. We have another amazing guest for you today. We are sitting here with Silja Paulus, who is a clarity catalyst coach who guides individuals from overthinking to action with her three-step method, drawing on over 10 years of athletic experience as a long-distance runner and competitive bodybuilder. Leveraging certifications in Mind Valley, Hollow Body, 10X Fitness, and business coaching. She specializes in dismantling limiting beliefs to spark meaningful change in just 3 sessions. Silja, welcome to the show.
Hello, and thank you, Chris, for having me. It's always so exciting to talk about change and talk about transforming lives and talk about leveling up. So I'm very happy to be here. It's always so interesting. And now we also have like a new angle, procrastination, because I also feel that procrastination for many people, this can be like the limiting belief even, or even like the block that is keeping them from change, that is keeping them from the next level that I actually want to have. So I'm super happy to talk about change from that specific angle.
Excellent. And we're excited to have you here because you've definitely got a very interesting backstory and profile. And we'll dig into that in just a moment. We do like to have an icebreaker on the show. And the question for you today is, which cartoon character do you resonate with the most and why?
I don't have like a specific cartoon character in mind, but I kind of know deep inside me that it has to be like some kind of superhero, and preferably a female superhero. So maybe it's Catwoman, maybe it's like, is there Superwoman? A Wonder Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman would be the one. Because she's strong, she's powerful, she just goes for things and she just does the stuff. She doesn't have the procrastination, she's just in action mode. And I love this boldness, I love this courage, and I also feel that I also embody a lot of this kind of courage myself. So that's why I think I'm Wonder Woman. Yeah. And I also love this Wonder Woman pose. You know, when you put the hands on the hips, you actually feel more confident and people see you as more confident. And I guess this is actually scientifically proven as well. This power pose.
I like that, Wonder Woman. And, you're right. The power pose, the body language has a lot to go into how we feel for sure. So let's dive right into it. How do you define procrastination and what does it mean to you personally?
Procrastination is postponing your true dreams, also postponing the problems and issues, postponing anything that you're not ready to face. So sometimes, even if you say to have this big dream thing, you want to have this big dream come true, you might still have like some subconscious fear inside you that is stopping you. So you say, oh, yeah, I want this, I'm going to go. But for some reason, you still keep thinking about it and not doing anything about it. You just keep going into the details. Maybe you keep learning about this specific topic that you want to tackle. For me, procrastination is mostly being stuck in the thinking and talking phase and not stepping into action. And I really love to do stuff. I really love to have action. So that's why I always want to get rid of my own procrastination when it happens. Because for me, procrastination it's also expressed as like some kind of mental chatter, and it's not a good kind of mental chatter. It's not like this nice conversation. It's more like this overthinking and this blaming voice telling me that, okay, you actually have to start doing stuff. And it's about shame and guilt. So I don't want to be in that thing. So for me, procrastination is something that I try to get rid of, because I feel that I'm always better when I'm doing what I promised to do and when I'm doing the things that my soul wants to do. And because this way I'm also living my purpose and I'm using my potential, using all the skills that I have. And it just makes me feel so alive. So for me, procrastination is something that I try to push out of my life. And I might even be on the other extreme where I'm just doing too many things just because I'm afraid that if I don't start doing, I will start procrastinating. So I'm kind of like running away from procrastination, running as fast as I can.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's definitely something that we all go in. I like how you summed it up there. It's more about, that chatter or those nagging little, I guess, roommates in your head and how to get over that. So what is your secret sauce? We actually have a little bit here. You mentioned that you had a 3-step clarity catalyst method. Is that what you personally use to get out of procrastination?
Yeah, I would say I always, so the first stage is always really getting very specific about what you want. Because sometimes people are like, okay, I kind of want to start like a business, but I don't really know what my business is going to be about. But if you have like a very specific niche and you know that, okay, my business is going to be for single moms and I will help single moms write books. This is like very random example. Then you actually start acting. Because if it's like this very vague, abstract thing, then you don't know how to structure it. You don't know where to start because if it's vague, you can't kind of capture it. It's just all over the place. So for me, the first thing is getting very clear about what. So because I'm also somebody who has many passions. I've been a long distance runner. Now I'm a bodybuilder. I also hold a degree in creative writing. I used to translate, massage therapy, dance therapy, hundreds of hobbies. So at some point, I was also very confused. That was even like a few months ago. And I was like, okay, what should I do with all these things that I can do? So first, I also tried just writing everything down that I like to do, that I can do, that I have competence for. So this is the first step, always getting clear about the what. And if you just write everything down, or if you discuss with a coach like me, you might also start noticing that, okay, all the things that you wrote down, some are like, yes, but some are like, kind of like it. And out of these things, people think they should pick something that is really like, yes, I want to do this. And once the what is clear, then we'll just go into the why. I believe that the why is super important. And this is still like the first step, the first session. Because if a person doesn't know why they are doing something, it's so easy to drop off. You know, motivation is coming and going. And they might even start doing this thing, like starting a business, writing a book, starting a new relationship, or maybe even moving to a new country. They might start, but if they don't know why, the motivation can just fade away. So that's why I also ask people multiple times, okay, why do you want this? Because there's always some kind of deeper layer. So for example, if somebody says, I want to lose 5 kilograms, I'm like, okay, it's not about seeing the specific number on the scale. Because if you just wanted to see the number, you would just take like marker and just write a new number on the scale. Oh, and you have it. Ta-da. If it's only about numbers. But actually, they want the feeling that comes from achieving this goal. It's also about the process. It's about the person that you become during this process. And also, when you get to this body that you actually wanted, then you will also probably feel more confident. If you feel more confident, maybe you are more confident also at work. You get promoted. This brings more money. Then you can go and travel the world or do many, many other things. And very often, just, these 5 kilos that somebody wants to lose or release, this doesn't sound exciting. But if you say you get to travel the world, okay, so this deeper layer, that's already more exciting. That this is maybe something that you want to achieve. So that would be the first thing. What and why? And after this, of course, why not? That's the second one. Why not? What are the limiting beliefs? What are the doubts? What are the blocks? Why can't you do it? So people are like, okay, I don't have the money or energy or time, or I'm too old, I'm too young. But it's like, it's just in your head. So if you keep telling yourself some kind of story that I can't, blah, 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 this is just an excuse. So I would also say it's a type of procrastination, finding excuses. At some point, maybe these excuses protected you. At some point, maybe you weren't ready and you weren't supposed to do this. You were not supposed to move to another country because you still had something to do in your own country, for example. And this was actually protecting you and keeping you in the place where you were supposed to be. But if it's no longer serving you, I feel it's time to let go. And very often people, they don't even see these things as limiting beliefs. They're just like, okay, that's a fact. I don't have time, or I don't have this or that skill. That's quite a lot of work on the limiting blocks and beliefs. But once you become aware of them, this is already like the first step on this journey. So why not? Why can't you do that? What are all the excuses? And of course, this might take a long time to just get rid of all them, but just starting somewhere as well and trying to tell yourself a better story, because your mind will believe anything you tell to your mind. So it's also up to you to choose a better story. maybe you don't have all the skills and all the things to go for this big goal, but maybe you have something. Maybe you can learn. Because I believe in growth and I believe that everybody can learn. And after this, the third part is like, how? What's the first step? I'm not going to be the person who's going to be holding the hand for my client for 6 months or so. I'm just going to kickstart and just push them off the cliff and let them go and fly. But yeah, the first step, the how, the first power move that gets them going in the direction that they want to go. So what and why not, and how? These are the three main themes in this method.
I like that. So, you need the map, right? So you need the map because if you don't know where you're going, you can't do anything anyway. So if you don't have the map. And then you have the why. I really like that you brought up the why. Like they say, the why is high, the cost is low. And so it's very important, the why. But I wanted to ask you something as a segue to that. How important is it to get to know your core values when you're looking at that?
I would say this is very important because if your why is connected to your core values, it's easier to hold on to this why, especially when things get hard, because eventually the things will get hard. So values, this is also something that I like to talk about. I like to just find out what the people believe in. So sometimes I also have my clients just write down all the things that they kind of like value and then like pick 3 main core values that they believe in, and also like start asking themselves, okay, how can I embody my core values in my life? So for example, my own first core value is freedom. So for me, freedom means having like flexible working hours and doing what I want, moving to a new country. So I'm in Spain, but I'm from Estonia. I'm from North Europe, but I live in South. So just having this freedom to go and do what I want, this is for me very important. And that's why I wouldn't go back to the office, for example, to work. I would pick a job that allows me to be flexible and hybrid or remote, because this is aligned with my values. So yeah, I ask people, do they know about their values? And like, what do you value? Like, what are your principles for life? So yeah, if you connect the why with the values, this will always be stronger.
Do you ever happen into this? I know sometimes it definitely happened to me in my own life, and I know that it's happened to other people. But how do you start looking at the core values? Because sometimes people have goals that they think are their values, but they're actually the values from their mother, their father, society as a general. How do you sort through those?
That's where actually going very deep into the why comes into play. Like I said, I ask multiple times, okay, why? Why do you want to have this amount of money? Why do you want to lose the 5 kilos? So when they start answering this question, it will also appear if it's their own thing, if they want this thing for themselves, or they're like, okay, I want to lose the 5 kilos because my husband will like me. It's like, okay, why do you want your husband to like you? But then it's like already a little bit more about the other person and less about this person. So I feel that knowing the why, this helps to detect, is it yours or is it somebody else's? But it's always like different for every person as well. You never know what might come up.
And, say you have that goal of losing the 5 pounds and you get to a point where it is, maybe starting to be about another person. Do you look at the goal itself, or do you try to sort of shift that why back to the individual? So instead of it being about the husband, it's about, oh, well, one shift might be when you're 90, you'll be able to pick up your own groceries or something like that.
Yeah, I was shifting more back to this person because you will always have yourself. Husbands come and go, sadly. So you never know if you're going to be together forever. So if you only want this to happen for him, I guess this is not strong enough, at least. I would just try to dig deeper and see, okay, what do you actually want? What makes you happy? What do you value? What kind of life do you want to have? And what kind of person do you want to become while you go for this goal? And maybe also in this goal, the person has something for themselves. Maybe they want to drop some of this weight for themselves as well. So I would just really go into this person, because you can't actually change somebody else's mind, but you can work on your own mind, your own desires, your own values. So that's why I would switch my focus on that person and go really deep.
That raises an interesting question. Do you find that when people first come to you, in general, that the goals are almost all kind of around validation sometimes of some form?
It's about validation, but it's also about living out your purpose and kind of like creative legacy. So some people actually want to write the book, for example. Of course, book can also bring you validation because if people like it, they validate you. But for some people, I'm also one of these people who just have this urge to create. I cannot not write. So for these people, this is not about validation. It's just this strong need and urge to write, the strong need to do this thing, like whatever happens. So that can also be one of the goals. And I feel this one is not about validation. Although we also, very often we want to be validated. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be understood because we are part of this humankind. So I would also say that this is very natural to have all this wanting and desire.
You touched on the creative writing process there, and everybody, I know my listeners are tired of me saying this because I bring it up every time somebody talks about writing. They say that writing is, any kind of writing, book, creative, but mostly book, I guess. They say that it's 98% procrastination and 2% actually doing it. How true do you think that is in the writing process?
I have started many, many manuscripts. Like I said, I also have a degree in creative writing. And today I also started editing one of my manuscripts, which is going to be out in March. So it's going to be out for my birthday because, I finally got it done. But also for this, I was actually part of 2-month challenge in November, December, because somebody who was writing a poetry book, he just made it into a challenge and he invited 100 people to just come and finish something before the year ends. So I was like, okay, I have this manuscript that I just started in summer. So, okay, I'm going to finish it. So I actually needed a little push myself. But I would say it was like 3 months of procrastination between the first outline and between this point where I actually started writing the majority of the book. So maybe I had 2,000 words written. Now I have 91,000 words. So between July and November, I wasn't doing anything. And that can also be procrastination. But I guess I was a little bit confused because I was doing so many different things and I didn't know where to put my focus to. And when this guy came with the idea, okay, let's everybody finish something before the year ends, I was like, okay, I want to do this. Okay, and I want to work on this manuscript. And I think it's true. Writing is a lot about procrastination. So that's why I actually have another manuscript drafted. And this is about how to write a book in 1 year. So it begins with becoming this writer kind of identity, just building up your habits, finding out when and where you write the best. So the first weeks are all about this. Then it's about building your characters and building the world in which your characters are living. So it has a lot of details. And after this, the majority is writing your own manuscript. And there's also a few weeks, maybe 8 weeks of editing. And between writing and editing, there's also a little bit of empty space and doing other things just to get away from your manuscript. But I have a process, but I'm also procrastinating with this little bit because it's ready. It's in Estonian, so I want to translate it and also push this one out into the world as well. But for some reason, I'm procrastinating. So I think you are right. Writing is a lot about procrastinating. But once you get into the flow, it feels so good. So I just started editing my book today and I hadn't looked at this manuscript for 1 month. And sometimes when you go back, you're like, oh my God, what is this? But this was, oh my God, who was this genius who wrote it? So sometimes you actually need to put time into the writing process. But I think it's good to have the writing done and then you put it away intentionally for a month or so, just to let it breathe and get some distance. And then you can go back and like Stephen King says, you can go and kill your darlings. Kill the sentences, sentence structures that you love so much, that keep repeating. every writer has something, some kind of thing that you keep putting into your writing. And these are like your darlings. You love these things so much, but sometimes you just have to kill them because there's too much of this. And you can do this once you get some distance from the book. So I was away for a month. I didn't touch it. And then I opened it again today. I was like, this is actually very good. I'm like, yeah, I did a good job. So that was kind of like intentional procrastination as well. But but actually, okay, it was intentional break, but I wanted to start a few days earlier. So for some reasons, I couldn't still get started. But having a deadline, knowing that I want to have it out for my birthday, this is also pushing me. So I feel that also having some kind of framework, structure, deadlines, this can get you out of the procrastination. But yeah, there's a lot of waiting in the writing process because often people get stuck. But as somebody who has written a lot, yes, sometimes you are stuck. You are just looking at a blank page. You're like, okay, nothing is coming out. But once you get the first sentence out, the procrastination also disappears and it starts flowing. And it doesn't have to be good, especially when it's a first draft. It can be like complete nonsense, but just keep writing.
You said a couple of interesting things there. The first point I'd like to get to is you mentioned about the challenge that you had for this book. Why do you think that when we have these, I guess, accountability groups or another person, that it's sometimes easier to maintain that, I guess, momentum?
Yeah, actually, this challenge was called momentum. It's a good one. I guess this synergy and knowing that everybody else is also working on something, this kind of pushes you. I wasn't using most of the exercises in the challenge. I wasn't using all this structure, but just knowing that everybody else is also writing, this pushed me quite a lot. And I was quite active in the community, so I was just interacting and talking to people and knowing that, okay, we are all doing something cool. We are all creating something. This gave me like a lot of energy. Yeah, and I guess also for some people having this accountability and having like a deadline, and some people also met in small groups just to encourage each other. This can help a lot, having this accountability and knowing that, okay, somebody actually cares. Somebody cares about my work, my legacy, my creative stuff. And I feel for me, maybe it was this, okay, somebody cares that I get it done. And also having this synergy of knowing that, okay, everybody's doing it and together we are creating something cool and there will be like new books, new music. Some people were working on the websites. So new projects coming out into the world and we are just building this beautiful energy. And yeah, the community feeling was quite well for this one.
So would you say that that again, you mentioned not so much the structure or even the deadlines, but you say that the community was more important in that process?
Yeah, community feeling. But for me, I was also using a special software where I could put how many words I want to have and what's the deadline. And I could also see how many percentage I have been doing and how many words I would need to write every day to get to this point. So when I missed a few days, then the average words per day was like, oh, super high. And I think one day I was actually writing like 9,000 words just because I skipped a few days. So I just had to catch up. And yeah, the community helped, but also for me, seeing the numbers and seeing how far I am already and seeing how it's kind of like building up. And some days, maybe I just write like 300 words and it seems like, okay, this is not much. I wanted to do like 90,000 something, but you still see, okay, maybe it's like 1% or 0 point something, something. So this, for me, the numbers are also helping quite a lot.
And the second thing you sort of mentioned, I'm just going to swing back a little bit. You mentioned about killing your darlings.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know you were talking about it as it relates to creative writing, but do you think that same process could be applied to any goal that we have, like in business or in plans?
Yeah, I guess everybody can have like some kind of maybe way of doing things that has been repeating and repeating in your past. And maybe it's not the most optimal. Maybe you're like writing your emails in a certain way that takes more time than it should. Maybe you don't use any AI to help you with tasks that can be automated. And you're just like so stuck in your old ways that you, in fact, you spend more time on doing things in the old way rather than just learning something new that would help you go further ahead. And I feel that if you don't kill your darlings, this is also like a way of procrastinating, because you are still stuck in the old way of doing things. You're still in the old process. So you're kind of protecting yourself from the new. Because if you start doing things the new way, which is maybe faster, maybe you will get to the goal also faster. And then you're like, okay, what's next? And maybe you just subconsciously, you don't want to get to this goal, or you're like too afraid. What if I actually get it? What if I get this success? What if I build this business? Or what if I really finish the book and it's going out and everybody reads and hates it? So I guess, yeah, killing your darlings might also be important for other goals. So if it's like some kind of health-related goal, like weight loss or building muscle, so maybe you have like specific way how you eat the vegetables or not eat them at all. And maybe this has to change for you to get some success. Or maybe you have this, your darling is starving yourself after like a party, and then you just fast for a day because you think, okay, this is like a good way how to get back on track. But maybe this is actually messing up your appetite. So there might be many, many different darlings. These are like the old ways, habits that you don't want to throw away because they're just comfortable, and everything new can be quite uncomfortable.
You brought up something interesting there, just AI, and I wanted to get your feedback on this just because we were talking before about leveling up and growth and sort of needing that contrast and those challenges in order to kind of grow. As we use AI more and more, I mean, we're sort of, I mean, the danger might be that we're becoming complacent in that we won't have any challenges. Do you think that we need to be careful and that, you know, we use it maybe too much and aren't challenging ourselves enough?
Yeah, it depends also like how you use it. For me, AI, that's like my assistant, and I discuss things with AI. And I also tell AI when I'm just writing something. For the book, I didn't use it, but sometimes I discuss like social media content with AI. Then I'm like, okay, no, please make it different. And sometimes this is just like a brainstorming assistant. So I just take the idea and then I just go and run with it. So I just use it to get over like some kind of block. So also, if somebody has a creative block, I feel that AI can really get you over this very fast. And after this, once you get into the flow, then I just go and shut down, put away the AI and just go and write yourself or work on a business yourself. And yes, I think it can also make you lazy if you don't use it intentionally. And if you just delegate all your thinking, then yes, it might not be such a good idea. But I feel it's the same as ghostwriting. So I have also been a ghostwriter. So I have written books for my clients. So books about self-help and development and growth. And it's ghostwriting. It's not ghost thinking because these people are still thinking themselves. It's their story. So I don't know the details of the story. I don't know how they felt. So basically in this process, they were sending me very long WhatsApp messages, voice messages, like half an hour long kind of messages. I was listening, and based on this, I was writing their story. And then I was also like switching some chapters up and changing the order, just depending on what makes sense the best way. And it's still their story. As a ghostwriter, I was just making some order into this. So AI is also doing the same for many, many people. It's just creating order of this chaos. And even if I am a writer myself, sometimes I just type very chaotic stuff into ChatGPT. And I also know that I can just put this chaos in there and the AI will just make it neat and structure my flow of ideas. And this in fact helps me to process the ideas faster as well. As a ghostwriter, I was creating structure from this chaos. So I was working with two people and they were writing a book together. So I was like trying to make it all work out. So I guess AI is doing the same for many, many people. It just takes the mess that you have and it puts into a nice structure. And maybe from this point, you can just go and work on your own after you have created the initial structure. So if you use it intentionally, then it can be very, very helpful.
Thank you for sharing that viewpoint as well. You mentioned ChatGPT. Are there any other AI tools that are particularly helpful, maybe for keeping your goals together, or maybe that you use or you recommend?
For goals, I don't use AI, I think, but I'm using I also have my own podcast, so I use the script to edit my podcast because this way you can have the video on the side and then you have the transcript as a text. And when you delete the word from the text, it also deletes the relevant part from the video. So it's very convenient. It's basically like text editing, but you also edit the video at the same time. And you can also remove all these nasty filler words like, yeah, like, all that stuff. And I also use video. No, now it's called Course or something. So that's for social media clips and getting like short clips from a longer video. For goals, I feel that I'm quite okay with my own goals. But maybe, of course, there is an AI for this as well. For me, I'm still a little bit old school in some ways, so I'm also a kinesthetic learner. So for me, I need to process some ideas through my body. So I just write out stuff every day, like pen and paper kind of way. Because this way, I'm also more connected to the goals.
And you brought up something interesting there, the filler words. And you're a writer. For writing or for speaking, do you think that if we take out those filler words, I know sometimes they make things longer, or they can, I think my English teacher back in high school called them dead wood. But do you think that we're maybe losing some of the personality when we do that?
Yeah, I actually do keep some things, even if Grammarly is underlining all the really and absolutely and actually that I have in my writing. I keep these things in the writing. And I like to start some sentences with and, but, although Grammarly is like, no, don't do that. So I intentionally keep these things in my style. But also for me, this is like conscious choice. I guess for somebody who is not so used to writing, they might just put the filler words in just to fill up the space. And for them, maybe the editor needs to do this work. And I would also say that very often a sentence can be stronger if you remove some of the words. Because if you just have less words, you are not telling the people what to feel and think, you are showing. So it's this show, don't tell. So you could either say in a many words that, okay, she was like angry and blah, 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 and furious, or you can just show the person doing something. And very often, if you have less words and the words are like stronger, they kind of like make the reader think more as well. And the reader feels like, oh, I solved the puzzle. I figured out what the character is feeling. So the reader also wants to have this kind of, brain exercise, because if it's too easy, if it's too over-explained with many words, the reader's like, oh my God, I already got the point. Please stop it.
Yeah. I think you have a point there. Two books stand out in my mind, and I'm not out here to bash books or anything, but I think we can all agree that War and Peace and A Passage to India were a little long.
War and Peace, I only read some extracts because, again, I'm coming from a post-Soviet country, so it was also like in our literature classes, but I didn't read the whole book because it wasn't compulsory anymore. But it's like, and in the past, when you like start reading a book, first okay, the first 10 or 20 pages is just a description of the landscape or like the description of the family tree. It's like, oh my God, get to the point. And nowadays when you open a book, it's like, pooh, there's like some kind of action like happening on the first page already. It's already exciting, it's thrilling. So get right into it.
Yeah, I like that. I have many other examples of those kinds of books as well. But just going back to your goals and your vision, what's next for you, Silja? What's your plan for the next 5 years?
So I'm also in this era when I want to start a family. So I'm calling in my soulmate, my love. I don't have anybody right now, but I'm like, okay, I feel that this is coming. So I also want to build a family. I want to build a magical relationship that is full of support, supporting each other's goals, Because I also know that when I'm in love, in a relationship, I'm 10 times more productive because everything is like fueled with a different kind of battery. So this is actually foundation for many, many other things. I also want to really be on big stages and speak on big stages. I have done like smaller things. I have done workshops. I'm being in different events, speaking, and also on podcasts. And I would really want to be in a very big room with thousands of people. And it's like, ooh. I have been on the stage as a bodybuilder, half naked, spray tan, bikini, all that stuff. But I would like to just speak, and I want people to listen. And yeah, very happily write books, create courses, coach people, speak on stages, that kind of life. Yeah, that's what I want to build for myself.
Well, and I have no doubt that you're going to succeed in all that. Silja, it's been a really great conversation, a lot of great insights. Really enjoyed it. We are coming up close to the time. Is there anything that you wish I would have asked but didn't ask, or anything that you feel we should have covered but didn't cover today?
I feel quite complete. And I hope that people find some inspiration or motivation from this conversation and this rhyme.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. Just before we go, though, what is the best way that our listeners could reach out and get in touch with you in case they want to get kicked out of the nest?
I feel that Instagram is the easiest. Silja, so my name underscore and PS. Or they can also find my website, which is dragonflow.biz. So because I'm obsessed with dragons, that's why it's called Dragonflow. And dragons are like very strong, powerful creatures. I was also born in the year of the dragon in the Chinese zodiac. So that's why I'm using this imagery. And if you go on my website, you will see it's full of dragons and pink and purple and blue colors. So it's also like a trip to a fantasy land.
I like that. As usual, to all our listeners, don't worry about grabbing a pen and a paper and trying to scribble that down. We are going to have it in the show notes, so it's very easy to find.
Yeah.
Once again, Silja, thank you so much for being on the show. To all our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And just remember, if you can't find that motivation or inspiration for yourself today, maybe just go out and try to be that motivation and inspiration for someone else. And we'll see you again next time.
Yeah, thank you.